Today is Friday, May 3rd. We'll tell you about President Biden's message to protesters on university campuses around the country. Also, takeaways from one of the most heated days of former President Trump's criminal trial so far. Plus, a new oil mega merger just got the go-ahead. Some of the most popular songs are back on TikTok. And get ready for the fastest 2 minutes in sports happening this weekend. Those stories and more in today's episode. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. For another day, police forcibly removed protesters from several college campuses. It started at UCLA, which we told you about yesterday. Officers tore down makeshift barricades and cleared the tent city and plywood walls that formed an encampment. Meanwhile, in Portland, Oregon, police entered the Portland State Library, where protesters have been barricaded since Monday, and they started making arrests. Even more demonstrators were arrested at schools like Dartmouth, the University of New Hampshire, the University of Buffalo, and elsewhere. All in all, more than 2,100 people have been arrested on college campuses across the U.S. over the past few weeks. In other places like Rutgers, Brown, and Northwestern, student protesters have left on their own after reaching deals with their universities. Protesters have demanded schools divest from companies that support Israel, and they've also called on leaders like President Biden to do more to stop the bloodshed in Gaza. Well, Biden broke his silence on the protests yesterday, making it clear Americans have the right to protest, but that this is not the way to do it. As he put it, quote, vandalism, trespassing, breaking windows, shutting down campuses, forcing the canceling of classes and graduations, none of this is peaceful protest. Some of the demonstrations have also been problematic since some protesters have made anti-Semitic remarks and violent threats. And yesterday, Vice President Kamala Harris and her Jewish husband, Doug Emhoff, met with Jewish students and Hillel leaders to hear about their experiences with threats and hate speech. Though many protest organizers have said it's not fair to put blanket allegations of hate and violence against all activists, since many protests have been peaceful, and some pro-Israel counter-protesters have gotten violent too. President Biden has condemned both anti-Semitic actions and those who didn't understand the plight of Palestinians in Gaza. But he also says none of these protests have made him consider changing course in the Middle East. Even still, more protests are being planned for this weekend. The U.S. is now accusing Russia of using chemical weapons in Ukraine, which is a violation of international laws. Specifically, the U.S. State Department says Russia has been using a choking gas and tear gas to drive Ukrainian forces from their trenches. This backs up what Ukraine has said, that its troops have faced more and more chemical attacks in recent months. The Russian government, though, called the accusations baseless. Still, the U.S. has announced hundreds more sanctions against people and groups linked to Russia's chemical and biological weapons programs. Earlier this week, Ukrainian and American officials also accused Russia of purposely targeting civilians in what's potentially a war crime. And the non-governmental organization Human Rights Watch says it has evidence that Russian forces executed Ukrainian troops who were surrendering. All the while, Russian forces are continuing to advance. It's believed Russia is after a big win ahead of next week's Victory Day that commemorates Soviet victory in World War II. The Pentagon wrapped up an internal investigation into an airstrike in Syria last year and found the U.S. hit the wrong target. At the time, American forces said they killed a senior operative from the al-Qaeda terror group. But now the Pentagon has confirmed it was actually an innocent shepherd who had no involvement with any armed groups. The military did not share many details of the investigation, saying the findings are classified, but it did say the investigation, quote, revealed several issues that could be improved. So far, there has been no mention of potential disciplinary action or exactly what changes will be made. Meanwhile, the U.S. continues to target terror leaders in Syria. Lawyers defending former President Trump in a criminal hush money case have turned the attention away from their client and toward a witness on the stand. In court yesterday, they went after one of the prosecution's witnesses, a lawyer who negotiated the payment on behalf of an adult film actress who said she had an affair with Trump. It ended up being the most contentious testimony yet in this trial, as the defense team accused the lawyer of being a shakedown artist who extorted celebrities like Charlie Sheen, Hulk Hogan, and Lindsay Lohan. The lawyer said he wouldn't discuss other cases, but denied ever extorting anyone. Trump is accused of trying to hide the hush money payment by falsifying business records just before the 2016 election. The former president says the whole case is political as a way to undercut his bid to get back to the White House. The trial continues today. Maryland has some new estimates for rebuilding the Baltimore Bridge that was destroyed by a container ship back in March. Officials now say it will cost between $1.7 and $1.9 billion to rebuild the Francis Scott Key Bridge. And the goal is to have it all done in just over 4 years. That said, the timeline and the cost estimates are preliminary for now. In fact, workers are still trying to remove pieces of the old bridge from the Baltimore harbor now. And investigators are still trying to understand why a cargo ship crashed into the bridge in the first place. And by the way, that cargo ship is actually still stranded in Baltimore, though officials do expect to have it removed by next week. More news is still coming up, but first, thanks to our sponsor, Boll & Branch. So you've probably heard all the different sleep hacks out there, but my best advice, just get the bedding you love. For me, my body just melts into bed and I go right to sleep with my Boll & Branch sheets and duvet set. My husband and I agree that Boll & Branch has the best bedding we've tried, and we've tried a good amount. So no wonder we went back for more. After loving our first set of signature sheets from Boll & Branch, we got another set. Super soft, super breathable, just feels good on our skin. And we even followed it up with our duvet set, which looks amazing and is also so comfortable. We got the linen duvet set in the mist color. Both our sheets and duvet set have only gotten softer with each wash, too. And together, our entire bedroom has been upgraded in both look and feel. And get this, there's a 30-night worry-free guarantee with free shipping and returns on all U.S. orders. Sleep better with the softest, most breathable bedding from Boll & Branch. Get 15% off your order when you use the promo code Newsworthy at bollandbranch.com. That's Boll and Branch, BOLLAND, branch.com, with the promo code Newsworthy. Exclusions apply. See site for details. Now back to the news. 2 national monuments in California are getting bigger, meaning a lot more mountains and meadows are being protected. President Biden took executive action to expand the San Gabriel Mountains National Monument in Southern California. That's home to wildlife like the California condor bird and the mountain yellow-legged frog. Plus, he expanded the Berryessa Snow Mountain National Monument. That's about 80 miles northwest of Sacramento and known for wildflowers and steep canyons. The White House says these expansions will increase access to nature and honor areas of significance to Native American tribes. Overall, the Biden administration has set a broad goal of conserving 30% of America's lands and waters by the end of the decade. The federal government has given the go-ahead to the largest oil and gas deal in decades. The FTC says it will not try to block Exxon's $60 million merger with Pioneer Natural Resources. That is, under one condition. Pioneer's old CEO won't be able to serve on the board. The FTC says Scott Sheffield, who actually founded Pioneer in 1997, colluded with the group of oil-producing nations across the world known as OPEC to potentially raise crude oil prices. Pioneer criticized the allegation, saying the ex-CEO should not be disqualified, but the company said it would not contest them either. So with that, Exxon says the deal is closing today. It's expected to greatly expand the company's dominance in the Permian Basin of West Texas, giving it one of the largest undeveloped oil and gas inventories in the world. The latest sign of trouble for mall-based retailers? Another store has decided to close up shop. This time, it's teen fashion retailer Rue 21. The company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy this week for the 3rd time, and this time it says it's closing all of its locations and selling its brand. Rue 21's roughly 540 stores will have going out of business sales for the next 4 to 6 weeks, and then that's it. Several other retailers have also filed for bankruptcy this year, and some of those stores, like the Body Shop and 99 Cents Only stores, have also decided to shut down all American locations. Others, like Express and Joann, are still hoping to survive. TikTok announced a deal with the world's biggest record company to bring its music back to the social media platform. It reached a licensing deal with Universal Music Group just a few months after the companies had a falling out and music had to be removed from the app. Now, songs should be available again in a week or two from some of the world's biggest performers. Think Taylor Swift, The Beatles, Olivia Rodrigo, The Weeknd, Bad Bunny, Billie Eilish, Drake, Harry Styles, Elton John, Kendrick Lamar, Coldplay, Adele, Post Malone, BTS, and many, many more. The companies say the new deal improves compensation for songwriters and artists. Plus, TikTok and Universal Music Group have plans to help make musicians even more money on the app in other ways, like through e-commerce, marketing campaigns, data insights, and so on. TikTok and Universal Music Group have also agreed to work together to remove unauthorized music generated by artificial intelligence. Of course, the U.S. government is still leaning on TikTok's Chinese parent company to either sell or be banned in the U.S., though TikTok plans to fight that new law in court. Bust out the big hats and mint juleps. The 150th Kentucky Derby is happening tomorrow. The world-famous horse race is actually America's longest-running sporting event, and it's one of the biggest. The Churchill Downs racetrack in Louisville can hold as many as 165,000 people. And as always, there's expected to be a crowd packed in to watch the 1 4th mile race. 20 of the world's fastest horses will gallop across the track for a chance to win a garland of roses, a record prize, and the title of Kentucky Derby champion. Plus, it will give them the opportunity to win the first Triple Crown since 2018, since the Derby is the first leg. You can watch the Kentucky Derby tomorrow afternoon on NBC. That's it for the main news, so now it's time for Feel Good Friday, when we bring you one extra feel-good or positive news story before the weekend. But first, a quick break for our sponsor, OneSkin. If you're like me, you are tired of cycling through ineffective skincare trends and overcomplicated routines, or even just asking yourself, wait, do I really need to have some time-consuming process to have healthy skin? This is why I'm so excited to tell you about OneSkin. Their products make it easy and effective to keep your skin healthy while looking and feeling your best. No complicated routine or time-consuming protocol. Instead, each morning and night that I do this easy skincare routine, it feels like a mini dose of self-care that I can actually commit to. I've been using their products for a while now, and I can really tell the difference in my skin, so I will be buying this again, even if they don't keep sponsoring the show. But don't just take my word for it. OneSkin has over 4,000 five-star reviews and were recognized by Fast Company as one of the most innovative brands in 2024. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. So get started today with 15% off using the code newsworthy at oneskin.co. That's 15% off oneskin.co with the code newsworthy. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, so please be sure to support our show and tell them we sent you. Okay, now back to Feel Good Friday. A Texas postal carrier went above and beyond to make a memorable reunion happen. He reunited a woman with World War II-era letters that her brother wrote while he was serving in the Army. As a veteran himself, Alvin Gaucher says he knew the letters were important when he found them one morning, but there wasn't a lot of information on them, not even an address. He just knew they were supposed to go to a couple who lived in Jacksonville, Arkansas. So he contacted an Arkansas news station. The station was able to figure out the soldier was Marion Lamb, who wrote the letters to his parents back in 1942. And the news team tracked down Lamb's sister, who's still alive. And with that information, the mail carrier decided he would use his day off to take a road trip and hand-deliver the special mail. The woman could hardly believe it when she saw the letters, calling them a connection to her family and a reminder of the sacrifices her brother made. And now she says she feels connected to the mail carrier, too, saying his generous act restored her faith in people. We'll be back tomorrow with our special edition Saturday episode. What a recent investigation found about some products sold on places like Amazon. Some even had that Amazon's Choice label, but turned out to be problematic. Plus, how you can shop smarter. Then join us again Monday for your next news roundup. For now, thank you so much for listening and have a great weekend.